Alright guys, so we finally are going to compare the GT2544 and the GT1554. So, these machines, they may look very similar to each other, but however, they are pretty different. First, underneath the hood of the GT1554, we have a Kohler Courage 27 horsepower SV740 V-twin engine. Underneath the hood of the GT2544, we have a 22 horsepower Kohler Command V-twin CH670 professional engine. So the difference between the two motors was, back when these were made, generally, most of the time, the Command Series engines cost a little bit more money, and the Kohler Courage series were cheaper. Kohler Courage singles had issues. The V-twins, in my opinion, I think were good motors. The Commands had a little bit better quality control though. Now we're going to come to the seat. The seat on the 1500s, or the GT1554, it has armrests standard, very nice plush, and for some reason they spring up, but you sit down and they're super comfortable. This is a different seat you get from Tractor Supply. It's a fold down seat like this, but it sits more back on the springs, and the springs are a little bit bigger. But generally they would come with armrests, folding armrests, and it would be a little bit taller. Other than that, the seats are pretty much the same. The way you raise and lower the deck is on the 1500 series and the GT1554, you go out and you lower and you raise it back up. And I'm pretty sure, it's at the front. On this, you just adjust using this. That's how you adjust your seat. On the GT2544 and 2500 series, they used a little lever right here that you would pull and move your seat back and forth. Coming to the rear of the machine, they have just your standard hitch that's connected to your frame. So it's just a welded piece of your frame. And then it shows your gas tank. This is for your disconnect for your hydro. The hydrostats in these are either, trying to remember. Oh, you can either get a Tough Torque transmission, but it never said what model Tough Torque it was. And these either come in a G730 or a hydro gear with the last four numbers being a 0510. I'm pretty sure, or it might be 01050. I'm not sure. Seems here, this was made in 2006, this model. So this is a 2006 model, that is a 2007. So this is a year older. And as you can see, the frame is a 12 gauge steel frame that has things bolted to it instead of them being welded. That is one difference. They used ball bearings in the wheels. There we go. Use ball bearings in the wheels. Cast iron front axle. And they used these heavy mower decks made out of, I'm pretty sure they were all 12 gauge steel, but these 54s on these GT1554s had a striping kit on the back to help you stripe your grass. And they mow fantastic. In my opinion, these mower decks are better than the ones that come on those, except for the 48 and 54 because they have the extra brackets on them for casters. If that had this on here, this would 100% be way better. But in my opinion, I think these are better than all the standard ones that you get on every single 2500 series. Coming over to the 2500 series, obviously you can see 11 gauge steel mower decks. The 42-inch deck was a 13 gauge steel. The 44 and the 54 and the 48 were all 11 gauge steel, and the 50 was 12 gauge steel. And you could see it's just not as well built as that is. This is a high capacity deck. This is not a high capacity deck, so this is able to withstand much more grass. This has 23 by 10.5 by 12 rear tires. These have 23 by 9.5 by 10 or by 12 rear tires. The difference is those rear tires are wider. Same with the front tires. Those are 16 by 7.5 by 8 front tires. These are 16 by 6.5 by 8 front tires. So they're just wider all around for some reason. 2500 series, and this is standard for all of them. Cast iron transmission, which is super heavy duty. This has a BDU-10 made by Hydro Gear, model 225, and it has 458 pounds of torque, foot-pounds of torque. And you could check it using your dipstick. As you can see, it just shows up on the dipstick. And you have your tow hitch, which this is all a separate piece of, I'm pretty sure, either 9 gauge, I'm pretty sure it's 9 gauge steel. And this is your disengage for your hydro. They both use 4-bolt automotive style lug nut steel hubs. So they're stronger than most of the time they're actually stronger than the 5-bolt style. Let's see. Oh, so generally, if this has a G730, the foot-pounds of torque will be 230 foot-pounds of torque. The if it had a I think it's what they call a 300 series by Hydro Gear, which is older, obviously, since this is an older machine. It has somewhere around 350, so it's going to have a lot more torque depending on the model. You can tell if this one has a oil filter, which it does not. So this means that this is in fact the 3000 series, or not the 3000 series, the 300 series hydro that came in these. So this is the heavier duty hydro. Gas tanks on these were 3.5 gallons. So that was standard for all 1500 series. I don't know why I'm getting you confused. Pretty much all 2000 series and 2500 series, they all had 2.25 gallon gas tanks. It's not enough for these. These Kohlers guzzle gas like crazy. I don't know how the Kohler Courage is compared to the Command series. All I know is the Command series, if they're not EFI, they suck gas like it's their job. It's ridiculous. Some differences between them: 11 gauge steel frame compared to a 12 gauge steel frame. A little bit better motor than that. This is a belt-driven machine. So what that means is there is a pulley that's up underneath the oil pan, so just below this frame, that connects to the crankshaft. And what it is there's a belt that connects to that pulley and goes all the way down to the back where there's a pulley on top of the transmission, and it spins a pump, and therefore making the wheels move because it's a hydrostatic transmission, because it flows hydrostatic fluid. The way that the 2500 series works is, since they are a little bit more rugged machines, what they have is they have a fully solid stainless steel drive shaft that goes from the flywheel of the engine all the way back to the cast iron transmission. And in case if you have a 2000 series machine, it's aluminum. The 2500 series case is preferred because in the 2500 series, you actually get a bigger model BDU-10 transmission, and you also get the cast iron case, which is stronger. These do have greasable wheels. I don't think those are greasable. Some other things to talk about. All aluminum spindles. This has what they call the treadle pedal. So what you do is you put your foot on there like this, and you rock it back and forth. It's kind of odd. So what generally most people do is push your foot forward and then push your foot backwards like that, or go like this to get the most speed. Since we're here, there's the brake. You have your key, which is a standard Cub Cadet key, and you have stop, mow and reverse, normal mowing, start, and this is for your mow and reverse. So you put it into normal mowing normally, and then reverse caution mode, and then you hit this button and you can mow in reverse. Here you have your electric PTO, which is standard on all 1500 series models. Cruise control, so you can set it to wherever you want and press down. Parking brake block, which I'm not really sure how this works, because I don't think it really works. Steering, same steering wheel as that. The steering wheel on the 2500 series is a little bit pushed up. Has the same LCD screen and same idiot lights as the 2500 series. Same throttle design as the 2500 series. This is a little bit loose. The choke is basically the same choke, as you can see here. 12-volt outlet. The only thing is the parking brake and cruise control. And I wonder if you have to, nope, I'll press both of them down. On the 2500 series, the same lever for both does cruise control and your brake. And grab handles, GT style fender flares, and obviously your hood. So it's a pretty basic. And then one thing that's different is you don't have your giant, you don't have the frame hump and the drive shaft hump on these. You just have a little tiny frame hump on these. Rubber floor mats, which is standard. On these, you get a little bit different floor mats. You have a much bigger frame hump on these, which is a little bit different. And then you have your drive shaft hump. The way that you lower the deck on the 2500 series, which I forgot to say before, is you press down on this button and you can press it down. Now hopping onto the 2500 series dash, you have the same basic steering wheel, throttle, choke, 12-volt outlet, PTO clutch, and the same reverse mowing feature, same LCD display. Now the only difference is the pedal, or the brake pedal, the forward and reverse pedal are a little bit different. Now if you come around to the pedal side of the tractor, you'll see that the pedals are different. Now it may look like a treadle pedal at first, but you can't really use it as a treadle pedal. That's because you're supposed to press with your toes and hit down with your heel, or press down with your toes like that. And if you can see, these are a little bit more beefy. Other than that, if you look right here, you see how these are not split? That's because one lever functions for both. And you got your same throttle. Now, since we're comparing these specific two machines, you have an oil light, a battery warning light, a PTO blade warning light, and a parking brake warning light. And when they turn on, they also have a battery indicator. And this model has 291.4 hours. And since this has oil sentry on the Kohler commands, when the engine is off or it senses no oil pressure, the light will come on. And if it notices no oil pressure while you're running, it will flash without there being a code. At every 50 hours, there will be a code that says CHGOIL on both models to tell you that at every 50 hours you need to change your oil. Coming over to the GT1554, we can see here that it shows the same battery, but it only has 57.7 hours. So obviously, one machine has been used more, that being the 2500 series. Now the capabilities of each machine are pretty similar. Both machines can have a sleeve hitch. Which one I would put a sleeve hitch on? I put it on the 2500 series due to the heavier transmission and the shaft drive. You want the extra weight and the extra power of the transmission and the shaft drive that'll get you out of heavy places and to help drag implements through the ground. If you were just putting like a blade or a box blade or something, this is a perfect machine to do that. This is a perfect machine. Both machines can have a 30-inch tiller on the back of them. That's probably the better machine to do it. It's going to hold up a little bit better. Depending on what hydro you have in this, it's going to hold up depending on which hydro you have. This one, having the heavier duty hydro, it's going to be able to withstand those tasks much better. These GT1554s, they came standard with a Kohler engine. Now there was a different model called the GT1554 VT, and that came with a 27 horsepower Briggs & Stratton professional series engine, which is not as good as any Kohler. I think for 2005 they came with the Kohler Command series engine, and for 2006 they switched over to the Courage series. These Cub Cadets always came standard with a Kohler Command series. That was the only model they used. Front attachments that you can get for them, both can have a 42-inch snowblower. Those have a belt that drives shafts to drive the auger. This is fully belt driven. They could both have a plow. They can really have anything that fits on front. They could both have Johnny buckets. I may be speaking too soon because I'm not sure if this can have a Johnny bucket, but I'm pretty sure it can. It's plenty strong. You might just have to modify in order to have a Johnny bucket. These have a specific model that you can have a Johnny bucket for and a Johnny blade. Other things to go over? They really have this, I think they have the same bumper. Yeah, they do. The weight on these. I'm pretty sure with mower deck, these weigh 587 pounds. And that's with my catalog, the brochure that I have. This with no mower deck weighs 800 pounds dry. So there is a pretty big weight difference. But I'm saying, if you need a good basic GT, this is a really, really good model to get because you're not spending a ton of money for a good basic platform. If you're going to spend a little bit more money and want something a little bit more fancy, then the 2500 series is definitely for you. Trying to think of some things. They look very similar. Obviously, one thing is with the horizontal shaft engine on the 2500 or the GT2544, the exhaust comes out the front of the hood. The exhaust comes out on the GT1554 down here. The way that the deck is driven on the 2500 series is through a mule drive, just like the old International Harvester Cub Cadets. The front axle on these is a little bit heavier than those, but they're both cast iron. You don't need to worry about them ever breaking. Cast iron is one of the strongest This is what they call in the industry a light-duty GT. And the reason why is because it's lighter made, but it's still a garden tractor. It's made for heavier duty tasks. It's not a super lawn tractor. A super lawn tractor is way cheaper than either of these machines. Way cheaper made. Either of these machines will destroy them. These can handle heavier tasks and overall will last a little bit longer than these machines will. One thing about these is I found out is the 2500 series, 2000 series, and 3000 series from Cub Cadet, these are both made by MTD. Now remember, IH was the original brand of Cub Cadet. They were the first people to invent them. They sold the brand Cub Cadet to MTD in 1981, and IH was later bought by Case. So, the 2500 series Cub Cadets are actually still trying to follow what the original IH Cub Cadets did, and that was shaft drive to cast iron transmission that was heavy duty with a Kohler engine. They made another model called the White Outdoor GT2550. I know, kind of confusing because it sounds like you're doing something more like that. What it is actually the same machine as this, branded as a White Outdoor. There's no difference, except the only difference is instead of a Kohler engine, a Tecumseh engine. Not a good engine. Go with these. I guess the only thing to do now is compare them running and, mowing a little bit. So what we're going to do is we are going to let you hear each machine idle, and then we are going to run each mower deck and drive down and backwards. Okay? Sounds good. This is the GT1554 on idle with that 27 horsepower Kohler engine. This is the Courage series. Let's have a burnout light. It idles very well. And at only 57 hours, this thing's got years left. Sounds good. Now we will try out GT2544. This is again the 22 horsepower Kohler Command V-twin CH670. That is an SV740. And it's got that Harley sound. Look at how straight those were. Those were very straight. Anyway, I don't know about you, but I almost think that the GT2544 was faster. From the camera woman, what was faster?
I actually thought the other one was.
Really?
Mm-hmm. By like milliseconds. Like
Till I
they're
parked?
almost,
Till I parked, or
Yeah.
till I came over?
no, till you came over.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I
Like,
don't know.
Super quick.
That one felt faster, but
Yeah.
this one's fast too. Like they're pretty
So
much almost
We
identical.
could re-look at it and we can time it. We can look at the timer when we watch it.
All right, sounds good.
All right.
Anyway, folks, thank you for watching. This was a super, super cool video. Thank you to my neighbor. Everyone, have a good day and subscribe.